9-1, number 1, we got to find 4 different things. We have to find the equation of the axis of symmetry. Then we need to find the y-intercept, where it's going to cross the y-axis. Then we need a graph. Well, we don't have to do necessarily these in order, but we need to find all 4 things. No, this is not multiple choice. Okay? So the first thing we can do is go to our calculator and make a little T-chart from the coordinates. So x squared minus 4, you go to y equals on your calculator, you get x squared and minus 4. Make sure you use the minus and not the negative. When you go to your table, we see a bunch of points, good points that are on our graph. Now, our graph paper only goes, see, there's the origin, 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it only goes positive 5 and negative 5 on the x and y axis. So we're looking for points where both the x and the y are going to be less than 5. So we got to be a little bit picky. The x and the y have to be less than, or have to be between negative 5 and positive 5. So this one's good. And this one's good, this one's good. Okay, and then maybe there's some more below that. Let's see. Yeah. So all of those should be good. So negative 3, 5, negative 2, 0. All of these will fit on our paper. Negative 3, 5, negative 2, 0. This is x and y. Negative 1, negative 3. Zero, negative 4, 1, negative 3. 2, 0, and 3, 5. So these are all coordinates. Half of them I wrote as a T-chart, half of them I wrote as coordinates. But so we got negative 3, 5, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's negative 3, 5. Negative 2, 0. It'll be right here. Negative 1, negative 3. 0, negative 4. Positive 1, negative 3. Positive 2, 0. And positive 3, positive 5. So it's pretty easy to see the outline of that parabola. So the axis of symmetry, in this case, is going to be your y-axis. So what's the equation of the y-axis? 0. What equals 0? No. X is equal to 0. Because every point, all the points that make up the y-axis have an x value of 0. Every point on the y-axis is x equals 0, or 0 something. So the other way we could have done it is, before we even graphed it, and sometimes the graph doesn't show us a clear picture of what the axis of symmetry is, we could have said the equation is negative a over 2b, or negative b over 2a, sorry. So what was b? What would b be in this case? Well, a is 1.
X squared. 0.
0. B is 0. And the reason we know it's 0 is because it must have been 0 because the x to the first power term is gone. And the only way it can disappear is if it was being multiplied by 0. The constant is always no variable, negative 4. C is always the constant. It won't have, C won't have a variable attached to it. So x would be negative b, which is 0, over 2 times a. Well, and anything divided by, or if you divide by 0, you get 0. So that's why another confirmation that x equals 0 is the right axis of symmetry. So B, find the y-intercept. Where is this going to cross the y-axis? There, at its vertex, at 0, -4. C, graph the equation. We did, we plotted the points. Make sure you make this a curve, not a pointy arrow. It gradually turns as it gets to the vertex and heads back up. State the domain and range. Domain, are there any walls left or right that I can border this parabola and be able to say this parabola doesn't get any wider than this? No walls. This parabola doesn't have any walls. Almost the parabola doesn't have any walls. All real numbers. What about the range? Does this parabola have a ceiling or a floor? It has a floor. Because it gets to this point, -4 or 0, -4, and never goes below that. So this has a floor. So that means all of its y values are going to be greater than or equal to that floor number, which is -4. Okay? So y greater than -4 describes all the points on this parabola. All right. All right, looking at number 5. When we did the notes, remember what happened when the coefficient on our squared term got bigger? What happened? When the coefficient got bigger, it got tight, it got skinnier. The whole parabola got real skinny. So 25 is a pretty big coefficient. What made it fatter? Right, smaller numbers, like numbers less than 1. Half x squared, fourth x squared. Okay? So the 25x squared minus 4 is probably going to be pretty skinny. Let's put it in our calculator and see. Y equals 25. X squared minus 4. Now our graph doesn't have an x or a y axis on it. So I can, pretty much I have a lot of flexibility on how I graph this and where I put the origin. And I can even decide how I want to scale this. I don't have to go by ones. And I'm thinking I may not want to, since this may be a pretty sharp, skinny parabola. So let's see, graph. This is on a 10 by 10. What are some numbers that are on it? So I got 0, -4, and then all of a sudden it's -121 and 121. Those are the next 2 points if I go only 1 unit over, which is a lot. Okay, so let's just go ahead and put the. We'll just stay by ones. Okay, and we'll make this our x and y axis as much as we can. Wait, did I do that? Let's see. 0, negative.
So we're just
Negative. What's that? Yeah, that's right. The 0, -4 is the only thing that will fit. Okay, there's 0, -4. There's my origin. There's my y-axis, my x-axis. Because when I try to go over to the next one, 121. Well, here's 1, and I only get to go up 6. I would have to go up all the way to 21, which if I went way down here, put the whole thing down, I might could pretend, okay, that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, maybe up here, and then -1, maybe over here, 21, but that's still probably not high enough. So this parabola would be really sharp. But then it would not go past x equals 1 until it got all the way up here. So it almost looks like it's going to run parallel to x equals 1 and x equals negative 1. It will not cross this next vertical line. It'll keep getting closer and closer and closer to it, and it won't cross it until it gets to 21. So that's a really, really steep parabola. So our things we need to answer: A, what is the line of symmetry? What's going to be the line of symmetry on this one? Still x equals 0. It's still the y-axis. X equals 0. Part B wants to know what? Y-intercepts. Oh boy. Because the y-intercepts are going to be here and here. The that's the x-intercept. That comes next week. X-intercept. That's a lot easier. X-intercept is still the origin. So the x-intercept is -4, 0. We're good there. 0, -4. 0, -4. That would be the 4. Yeah, so when we get to domain and range, we'll refer to that point. Part C says graph it. We tried. Part D says the domain is going to be a parabola, and even though it's going left and right very, very slowly, it's still going to continue. We're not limited on how high we can go. We can go infinitely up, and it will continue to go infinitely left and right. So it's still all real numbers. And the range is going to have a floor, so all of the y values will be where? Range greater than or more than or equal to negative what? -4. -4. Okay? Because this is the lowest, this is -4. This is y equals -4, and this parabola stays above that. So all the y values of that parabola are greater than -4.